Welcome to a new story. Imagine yourself on the ancient Silk Road, walking through the desert with camels beside you, the warm wind brushing your face and endless sands stretching to the horizon. Before we begin this story, make sure to like and subscribe, and drop a comment telling me where you're watching from and what time it is for you. This was no single road, but rather a web of paths, stretching across deserts, mountains, and endless plains. From the bustling markets of Xi'an in China, through the deadly Taklamakan desert, over the icy passes of the Pamir mountains, and across the fertile valleys of Persia, all the way to the golden domes of Constantinople. For centuries, merchants, pilgrims, and wanderers carried goods, ideas, and dreams along these routes. They traded silk and spices, glass and horses, paper and jewels. But more than wealth, they carried danger, exhaustion, and uncertainty. The Silk Road was a promise, but also a peril. Bandits waited in the shadows. Sandstorms swallowed caravans whole. Freezing winds cut through mountain passes. Disease, hunger, and betrayal often claimed more lives than war itself. And yet, people traveled. Because to walk the Silk Road was to connect worlds. Tonight, we follow one such man, Arslan, a seasoned merchant with tired eyes and calloused hands. We will walk beside him in imagination, hearing what he hears, seeing what he sees, feeling the hardships of each step. This is not a tale of glory, but of survival, a day and night rhythm repeated for months as he crosses landscapes both beautiful and cruel. As you listen, let the steady rhythm of his journey calm your mind. The slow tread of camel hooves in the sand, the creak of wooden wheels, the whisper of winds over desolate plains. Our journey begins in the east, where markets overflow with color, but the road ahead promises hardship. Chapter 1. Departure from Xi'an. The year is 750. The Tang dynasty rules in China, and Xi'an, then called Chang'an, is the beating heart of the world's largest empire. Here, wide avenues stretch between palaces, temples, and markets that draw traders from every corner of Asia. Arslan stands among the crowds. His caravan is small but precious. 2 camels, 1 donkey, and a wooden cart creak under the weight of bales of silk, jars of tea, and small packets of precious medicines. Silk is wealth. Even a few rolls of it can buy food, protection, or safe passage far to the west. But to carry it is also to invite danger. Silk whispers to thieves like gold whispers to kings. Arslan inspects his goods carefully. Each bundle is wrapped in oilcloth to protect against rain. The camels chew lazily, their long lashes flicking against the morning sun. He takes a deep breath. The air in Xi'an smells of spice and incense, of fried dumplings and roasted meat, of paper freshly inked by scholars. Yet already he misses it, for beyond the city's western gate lies a very different world. The Silk Road is not paved with stone. It is dust, rock, and shifting sand. And once he leaves, weeks will pass before he sees comfort again. As Arslan moves toward the gate, he passes guards in lacquered armor. They inspect his papers, a travel permit marked with the seal of the Tang. Without it, no merchant may pass. Bandits disguise themselves as traders often, and the empire seeks order along its roads. Outside the gate, the noise fades. Xi'an's walls tower behind him, but before him spreads an open horizon. The road west. The caravan sets out. The first miles are easy. The land here is fertile, dotted with fields of millet and wheat, orchards heavy with fruit, villages with smoke rising from clay chimneys. Peasants bow politely as the caravan passes. Children point at the camels, giggling. But already, Arslan feels the weight of the journey. The cart is heavy. The animals are restless. The sun climbs, and with it, the sweat gathers beneath his robe. He thinks of his family left behind, a wife who prays for his safe return, children who depend on the trade he brings back. Merchants risk their lives not for riches alone, but because trade is survival. By noon, the caravan halts near a stream. The animals drink greedily. Arslan chews a hard cake of millet bread, washing it down with lukewarm tea. Food must be rationed, for the road is long. Other caravans pass by. Some are vast. Hundreds of camels, guarded by armed riders. These are the wealthy traders, often backed by nobles or officials. Their banners fly in the wind. Their laughter rings confidently. Arslan watches them with quiet envy. He travels with little protection. Should bandits strike, he has only his wits and perhaps a coin to bribe with. As evening falls, he makes camp near a cluster of tamarisk trees. A small fire flickers. The desert night is cold, sharper than expected. He wraps himself in wool and listens to the night sounds, the rustle of animals, the cry of an owl, the distant howl of wolves. The Silk Road is not yet harsh here, but already it feels endless. Tomorrow, the land will grow drier, the villages will fade, and soon the first stretches of desert will test his strength. Chapter 2. Into the desert of Taklamakan. The next days bring Arslan and his small caravan further westward, until the fertile land begins to fade. Fields thin out, villages become rarer, and the horizon grows wide and empty. Soon, the streams dry into trickles, and the green patches vanish into stretches of sand and scrub. Ahead lies the Taklamakan Desert, one of the most feared landscapes of the Silk Road. Merchants call it the Desert of Death. Others whisper that its very name means, "Go in, and you will not come out." Arslan tightens the ropes on his bundles. The animals sense the change as well. Their hooves strike harder ground, and their eyes dart nervously at the open emptiness. The Taklamakan stretches across what is now western China, a sea of sand larger than some kingdoms. No merchant crosses its center, it is too deadly. Instead, two main routes skirt its edges, one to the north, one to the south. Both are long, both are dangerous. Arslan chooses the southern road, the one that bends through small oasis towns like Khotan and Kashgar. These oases are lifelines, small green patches where underground rivers feed orchards of mulberry and poplar, where merchants can rest, water their animals, and trade. Without them, the desert would swallow all. On the first day inside the Taklamakan's edge, the world changes. The ground turns pale and dry. Wind whistles low across the sand dunes, raising dust that stings the eyes. The air grows harsh by day, then cold by night. Arslan covers his face with a cloth, leaving only his eyes uncovered. He thinks of the many who came before, and of the bones said to lie beneath the sand. Travelers speak of caravans lost in storms, their wagons buried, their camels suffocated in the shifting dunes. As the sun climbs, heat beats down like fire. His robe sticks to his skin. The animals breathe heavily, tongues lolling. By midday, he halts, for to travel in the peak of heat is to risk collapse. The caravan rests under the shade of a rocky outcrop. Even in shade, sweat trickles. The water skins are precious. Each sip must be measured. To drink too quickly is foolish. To drink too little is deadly. That night, Arslan shares a camp with another small caravan heading west. The leader, an old Sogdian merchant, tells him stories in a slow, gravelly voice. He speaks of sandstorms that rise without warning, walls of dust taller than towers, sweeping across the desert with a roar. He tells of men blinded, of animals lost, of goods scattered and gone. Bandits, too, are known here. In such emptiness, one cannot hide. Yet raiders know the routes well. They strike quickly, vanishing into the dunes. Arslan listens and nods, though the stories only deepen the weight in his chest. To survive the Silk Road, one must carry not only goods, but patience, caution, and trust in fate. Days pass in monotony. Step after step, mile after mile. The rhythm of camel hooves, the creak of the cart, the hiss of sand in the wind. Silence dominates. In cities, noise is constant. Shouts, bells, the ring of hammers. the call of vendors. But here, only the desert speaks, the crunch of feet, the breath of beasts, the sigh of wind. At night, the stars blaze overhead. The Milky Way stretches across the sky like a silver road of its own. Arslan lies awake, wrapped in wool, staring upward. He thinks of the stories told by travelers, that the stars themselves are guides, that they mirror the paths on earth. Some nights are calm, others bring terror. Wolves circle the edges of camp, their eyes glinting red in the firelight. Once, the wind rises suddenly, tearing at the tents, filling ears and mouths with sand. The fire dies, and darkness swallows the camp whole. Only in the morning do they see how the dunes have shifted, burying tracks, leaving them lost until landmarks reappear. After nearly 2 weeks, the caravan reaches an oasis town. Mud brick walls rise from the sand, surrounding orchards of mulberry trees. Inside, the air is cooler, shaded by leaves. Water flows in narrow channels, guiding life through this patch of green. Here, Arslan trades a roll of silk for dried fruit, nuts, and fresh water skins. The locals wear clothes woven from silk and cotton, dyed in earthy reds and yellows. They speak many tongues: Chinese, Sogdian, Persian, and Turkic. The Silk Road is not only a trade of goods, but of languages and ideas. Arslan hears news: bandits to the west, unrest in a nearby kingdom, and rumors of plague spreading among caravans. Each piece of information is precious, for to be ignorant on the road is to court death. The caravan rests here for 3 days. The animals regain strength. Arslan enjoys bread baked in clay ovens, flavored with sesame seeds. He washes dust from his body, though the smell of smoke and sweat lingers. But rest cannot last. The journey must continue. The desert is wide, and the mountains wait beyond. The Taklamakan tests patience more than strength. Each day blends into the next. Sand, wind, thirst, and waiting. Every horizon looks the same. Sometimes mirages appear, pools of water that shimmer in the distance, fading as one approaches. Arslan keeps count of the days by marking lines on a wooden tablet. 10, 20, 30. Weeks pass. He loses weight. His beard grows thick, and his skin cracks under the sun. But still he walks. One evening, as the caravan makes camp, Arslan watches the setting sun turn the dunes to gold. Despite the hardship, beauty exists here. The desert, cruel as it is, has a majesty that humbles the heart. Finally, after endless days, the land begins to change. The sand grows less deep, replaced by gravel plains. In the distance, a shadow rises against the horizon, the towering peaks of the Pamir mountains. Arslan feels both relief and dread. The desert has been survived, but the road ahead promises new dangers: icy winds, high passes, and the thin air of the world's roof. For now, he rests one last night on the desert's edge. The camels kneel, weary but alive. The stars burn above. The silence of the Taklamakan wraps around him like a heavy blanket. He whispers a prayer, thanks the heavens for safe passage, and closes his eyes. Tomorrow, the road climbs toward the mountains. Chapter 3. Over the Pamir Mountains. The desert is behind him now. The sands of the Taklamakan lie like a fading memory, but Arslan knows he will never forget its silence, its thirst, and its endless horizons. Ahead rises something very different: the dark wall of the Pamir Mountains, known to travelers as the roof of the world. From a distance, the peaks appear like jagged teeth rising into clouds. Snow glitters on their crowns, even in summer. The air grows cooler as Arslan approaches. His animals breathe more heavily, for the path begins to climb. The Silk Road is no single path here. Rather, dozens of mountain trails twist through the valleys, carved by rivers and glaciers. Some are little more than goat tracks. hugging cliffs where one wrong step could send man or beast into the abyss. Merchants have no choice. To reach the markets of Central Asia, one must climb. At the last village before the ascent, Arslan trades again. He purchases dried yak meat, sturdy woolen cloaks, and extra ropes. The locals warn him, the mountains are treacherous. Snowstorms can strike even in summer. Avalanches thunder down without warning. Wolves roam the high valleys, and worse than wolves, bandits wait in narrow passes. The villagers' faces are weathered, their hands rough from life at altitude. They survive by herding yaks, growing barley in narrow fields, and trading with caravans like Arslan's. Their homes are low stone huts, roofed with turf. Smoke rises faintly from each, scented with yak dung used as fuel. Arslan listens carefully to their advice, memorizing landmarks. The forked pine tree where the trail divides, the red cliff that marks the halfway point, the glacier that must be crossed with care. The caravan moves slowly now. Each step is effort. The camels, suited for desert, struggle on steep slopes. Arslan leans on his staff, guiding them along narrow ledges. His donkey brays in protest, hooves scraping stone. The air thins. Breathing becomes shallow, the chest rising faster, the heart pounding. At night, Arslan cannot sleep deeply. His head aches, his lips crack. This is altitude sickness, though he knows no such name for it. Only that the mountains take breath as easily as they give water. Still, they must move on. Time is precious. The longer they linger, the more supplies dwindle, the greater the chance of storms. On the third day, the caravan reaches a frozen river. The ice groans beneath the camels' weight. Arslan ties ropes around their chests, guiding them one by one across. The sound of cracking echoes, but fortune holds. They make it safely. Another day, a storm rolls in, the sky darkens, and snow whirls down in blinding flurries. The wind howls, carrying ice against their faces. Arslan huddles under his cloak, leading the animals by touch alone. For hours, they stumble forward, until at last the storm passes. The world is white, silent, and cold. Bandits too lurk here. On a narrow trail, shadows move among the rocks. A shout rises, and armed men block the way. They wear mismatched armor, carry curved blades. Arslan's heart pounds. He has little defense, yet he knows coin can speak louder than courage. Quietly, he offers a small bundle of silk. The leader eyes it, nods, and waves them through. It is a loss, but life is worth more than cloth. Along the way, Arslan joins another caravan, larger than his own. They are merchants from Samarkand, carrying lapis lazuli stones and fine horses. Together, they find strength in numbers. At night, their fires burn brighter, their laughter pushes back the cold. One man, named Rustam, tells tales of ancient heroes who crossed these same mountains centuries before. He speaks of Alexander the Great, who marched his armies here. He tells of Buddhist monks carrying scrolls, of Persian traders bearing carpets, of countless souls who risked everything for trade. Arslan listens, comforted by the thought that he walks in footsteps older than memory. Despite the suffering, the mountains hold beauty. Clear lakes reflect peaks like mirrors. Wildflowers bloom in sheltered valleys, their colors vivid against stone. Eagles soar above, their cries echoing through the sky. At dawn, when the sun strikes the peaks, the snow glows pink and gold. Arslan pauses, breath misting in the air, and marvels at the sight. In such moments, hardship feels almost holy. After weeks of climbing, the caravan reaches the highest pass. Here, the trail narrows to a knife's edge. On one side, cliffs drop into mist. On the other, glaciers rise in frozen waves. The wind cuts like knives, tearing at cloaks, howling in ears. Step by step, they cross. Each foot must be placed with care. The animals groan, hooves slipping on ice. Arslan's hands are numb as he grips the rope tied around the lead camel. At last they descend. Slowly, the air grows thicker, the snow gives way to grass, the rivers run stronger. On the western side of the Pamirs lies another world. Valleys widen, dotted with yurts of nomadic herders. Horses graze freely, bells chiming softly. The people here are Turkic, their language different, their clothing of felt and leather. They welcome the caravans with fermented mare's milk, sharp and sour on the tongue. They trade wool, hides, and hardy ponies. They too depend on the Silk Road, for it brings goods and news from distant lands. Arslan rests here for several days, letting the animals recover. He listens to the nomads' songs, their music played on stringed instruments that echo across the steppe. The mountains are behind him now, but Arslan knows the journey is far from over. Ahead lies Samarkand, Bukhara, and the vast steppes of Central Asia. Each brings its own trials: heat, hunger, and the constant shadow of raiders. Still, he feels a measure of pride. He has crossed the roof of the world. His caravan, though smaller now, still carries silk, tea, and medicine. He has survived desert and mountain. One evening, as the sun sets behind the peaks, Arslan watches the mountains turn purple in the fading light. He whispers a prayer of thanks, then turns his gaze westward. The Silk Road stretches on, and so does he. Chapter 4. The Cities of Central Asia, Samarkand and Bukhara. Arrival on the steppe. The descent from the Pamirs gives way to a new landscape. No longer the suffocating desert, nor the icy cliffs. Here, the land opens into endless grasslands, the Central Asian steppe. Wide horizons, dotted with herds of horses and sheep. Nomads ride swiftly across, their felt tents clustered in circles. For days Arslan's caravan crosses these plains. The sky feels vast, the wind constant. It is a land of mobility, where people live not in stone houses, but in yurts that can be taken down and rebuilt within hours. Horses are wealth here, more valuable than gold. The steppe is not without danger. Raiding bands of horsemen sweep across the grass like shadows, their bows ready, their speed unmatched. But for now, fortune spares Arslan. He keeps to the known caravan trails, joining with larger groups whenever possible. At last, a city rises on the horizon. Samarkand, jewel of the Silk Road, crossroads of east and west. High walls of sun-dried brick encircle the city. Towers rise above the gates. Within, the air is alive with noise. Merchants shouting, camels groaning, bells ringing. The scent of roasted meat, spices, and smoke drifts above the streets. For Arslan, it is overwhelming. After weeks of mountains and emptiness, the sheer density of life here feels intoxicating. Inside the gates, he enters the Great Bazaar. It stretches for streets, a labyrinth of stalls shaded by cloth awnings. Goods from every corner of the world are displayed. Rolls of Chinese silk shimmer in red and gold. Persian carpets, thick and intricate, lie stacked like treasure. Indian spices, cinnamon, pepper, cloves, fill the air with warmth. Roman glass, delicate and shining, catches the sun. Central Asian horses, tall and strong, paw the ground, their coats brushed until they shine. Languages mingle in a symphony of trade: Chinese, Sogdian, Persian, Arabic, Turkic, Greek. Deals are struck with words, gestures, and the universal language of coin. Arslan sets up his small stall. His silks, though modest in number, draw attention. Buyers examine the weave, rub the fabric between their fingers, and whisper of its quality. A wealthy merchant offers him a pouch of silver for 3 bolts. Arslan hesitates but agrees. Silver means survival. At night, Arslan stays in a caravanserai, an inn built for travelers and traders. Its thick walls enclose a large courtyard where camels kneel and goods are stacked under guard. Inside, rooms line the walls, each holding straw mats, low tables, and oil lamps. Here, merchants share food and stories. One man speaks of trouble in Persia, wars between rival rulers. Another tells of pirates along the Persian Gulf. News travels faster than caravans, carried by word of mouth. Arslan listens closely. Every rumor matters, for it shapes his choices ahead. The caravanserai is safer than camping outside. Guards patrol the gates. Thieves fear to strike within these walls. Yet even here, danger lurks. Once, a merchant awoke to find his pouch cut from his belt. Another time, a servant vanished, taking with him a small chest of spices. Trust is rare on the Silk Road. After weeks in Samarkand, Arslan presses westward. His caravan lighter now, his purse heavier, he follows the road to Bukhara. If Samarkand dazzles with trade, Bukhara enchants with faith and learning. Mosques rise, their domes painted in turquoise. Madrasas, schools of scholars, echo with the recitation of texts. The city hums not only with commerce, but with thought. Here, Sogdian traders dominate. They are the middlemen of the Silk Road, skilled in many tongues, trusted by none, but respected by all. Their ledgers are filled with debts and promises, their hands always weighing profit. Arslan sells more silk here, this time in exchange for lapis lazuli stones, deep blue and precious, mined from the mountains of Afghanistan. Such stones will fetch high prices further west. Yet city life is not all splendor. Disease lingers in crowded streets. Rats scurry underfoot. Water, drawn from canals, sometimes carries sickness. Arslan falls ill for several days, racked with fever. He lies in the dim light of his room at the caravanserai, praying for strength. Merchants speak of worse, entire caravans struck down by plague. In such moments, wealth means little. Life itself is the only true coin. When Arslan recovers, he moves carefully, eating sparingly, avoiding crowds. But he knows illness is an invisible foe, as deadly as bandits or deserts. In Samarkand and Bukhara, fortunes can be made, but fortunes can also vanish. A careless trade, a dishonest partner, a single theft, and a merchant may find himself ruined. Arslan treads carefully. He sells just enough to sustain his journey, but not all. To reach Constantinople, he must still have goods of value: silk, spices, and lapis. Without them, the risk of the road would be for nothing. One night in Bukhara, as the bazaar quiets and the lamps flicker low, Arslan sits by the fire in the caravanserai courtyard. Around him, men of every land share bread and drink. He listens to the voices. A Chinese monk traveling west with scrolls of wisdom. A Persian poet reciting verses of love and loss. A Turkic guard sharpening his blade. The Silk Road is not only trade, it is the meeting of worlds. Here, under the same stars, cultures mingle, stories weave together, and history itself is written in quiet exchanges of words and goods. Arslan feels both small and immense. Small, in the face of so many lives, so many journeys. Immense, because he too is part of this vast web, a thread woven into the fabric of the road. Yet he cannot linger forever. The Silk Road is long, and time waits for no man. Beyond Bukhara lie the deserts of Persia, the dangers of political unrest, and the final glittering prize, Constantinople. For now, he rests, gathers strength, and prays. Tomorrow, the caravan turns its face to the west once more. Chapter 5. Through Persia and its harsh lands. The road beyond Bukhara. With Samarkand and Bukhara behind him, Arslan feels the shift of the road. The heart of Central Asia is left behind, and the path now leads into Persia, a land vast, ancient, and filled with both promise and peril. The caravan sets out once more. Days stretch into weeks. The steppe softens into dry plains. Villages grow scarcer. The air carries the scent of dust and sagebrush. The heat grows heavy by day, while nights bring biting chill. This is the gateway to Persia, where East and West truly meet. Here, cultures overlap. Persian farmers, Turkic herders, Arab traders, all cross paths with caravans like Arslan's. The Persian plateau is a land of extremes. Broad deserts broken by mountains, cities shining like jewels amid barren landscapes. To survive here is to master water, through qanats, underground channels that bring life from distant springs. Without them, nothing would grow. As Arslan travels, he passes fields of barley and wheat, orchards of pomegranates and figs, vineyards heavy with grapes. The contrast is striking. Green life carved from harsh desert. Villagers welcome caravans with bread baked in clay ovens, rice dishes flavored with herbs, and sour yogurt drinks. In return, Arslan offers small rolls of silk, stones of lapis, and jars of tea. The Persians have mastered the art of hospitality for traders. Along the great roads, caravanserais rise at intervals of 20 to 30 miles. These inns are fortresses of stone, with high walls and guarded gates. Inside, there are stables, wells, kitchens, and rooms where travelers may rest. For Arslan, they are havens. Within their walls, he sleeps more soundly, knowing guards patrol the gates. The animals drink deeply, the goods are stored safely, and fires crackle in the courtyards. Here, merchants from many lands gather. Arslan hears Arabic spoken by men from Baghdad, Greek from envoys bound for Byzantium, and Sanskrit from pilgrims journeying to holy sites. Each night, news flows as freely as wine. Wars between rival Persian lords, tribute demanded by Arab governors, pirates plaguing the Persian Gulf. Knowledge is as valuable as any trade good. Yet outside the caravanserais, danger lurks. Persia is a land long contested, where shifting rulers and warlords demand tribute. Caravans often face taxes at checkpoints, some official, others little more than extortion. One afternoon, Arslan's caravan is halted by armed riders. Their leader demands payment to pass. Arslan, cautious, offers a pouch of silver. The man accepts, but not without sneering. Such tolls are the price of the road. The deserts are no kinder. The Dasht-e-Kavir, the Great Salt Desert, stretches like a shimmering sea. Its salt flats blind the eyes, its marshes trap the unwary. To cross, caravans must know the safe routes, guided by locals. Arslan hires one such guide, a weathered man with skin darkened by sun. Without him, the caravan would surely be lost. The heat is merciless. By midday, the air quivers with mirages. The animals stumble, tongues dry, water skins grow lighter each day. At night, wolves prowl the edges of camp, their howls echoing through the salt plains. But hardship is balanced by splendor. In Persia's great cities, Arslan finds wonder. Nishapur, a city of poets and artisans, where turquoise stones glitter in the markets. Rai, near the great mountains, where scholars debate in shaded courtyards. And Isfahan, jewel of the plateau, its bazaars rich with carpets, brass, and books. In these markets, Arslan sells more of his silk, exchanging it for Persian glassware, fine woolen cloth, and jars of saffron, a spice worth its weight in gold further west. The Persians are skilled negotiators. They bargain fiercely, their voices rising and falling like waves. Arslan learns patience, waiting until the last moment to nod, securing a fair price. Yet Persia is not at peace. The Abbasid Caliphate in the west seeks to expand its power, while local rulers resist. Rumors of rebellion stir in taverns and caravanserais. Soldiers march along the roads, their banners snapping in the wind. For merchants, war is ruin. Battles block the roads. Armies seize supplies. Bandits grow bold when rulers fight among themselves. Arslan hears of caravans ambushed near Ray, their goods stolen, their guards slain. Fear grows heavy in his chest, yet he presses on. To stop is to wither, to move is to survive. In one caravanserai, Arslan meets a scholar from Baghdad. The man carries scrolls of philosophy, bound in leather, their edges gilded. He speaks of a great library by the Tigris River, where knowledge from Greece, India, and Persia is gathered. Another evening, he shares bread with a fire worshipper, a follower of Zoroastrian faith. The man tends a small flame, whispering prayers to the god of light. He tells Arslan of temples where sacred fires have burned for centuries, never extinguished. These meetings remind Arslan that the Silk Road carries more than goods. It carries beliefs, ideas, and the unseen threads of culture that weave across nations. As weeks pass, the caravan nears the western edge of Persia. Ahead lies Mesopotamia, the land between rivers, where empires rise and fall like the tides. Beyond that, the deserts of Syria, and finally, Constantinople. Arslan feels the weariness in his bones. His beard is long, his robes worn thin. Yet his goods remain, his camels still walk, and his purse carries silver and gold. One evening, as he watches the sun set over the Persian plateau, painting the sky in shades of fire, Arslan reflects on his path. He has crossed deserts, mountains, and cities of splendor. He has faced hunger, fear, and greed, yet he endures. Tomorrow, the caravan will march west again. The road narrows, dangers multiply, but the dream of Constantinople glimmers in his heart. Chapter 6: Mesopotamia and the Rivers of Civilization. Crossing into Mesopotamia. After weeks on the Persian plateau, Arslan's caravan descends toward the land known in every tongue, Mesopotamia, the place between rivers. Here, the Euphrates and the Tigris wind like serpents through dry plains, feeding fields that have sustained empires for thousands of years. To the east he leaves Persia behind. To the west, the roads lead toward the Arab lands, toward Syria, and beyond, to Byzantium. This is the crossroads of the world. The first sight of Mesopotamia strikes him deeply. Fields of barley ripple in the wind. Date palms rise tall, shading canals that glisten in the sun. Farmers bend low with sickles, their children carrying bundles of grain. For a man who has crossed deserts and mountains, the sight of so much water feels like a miracle. Everywhere lie reminders of empires long gone. Crumbling ziggurats tower above villages, their bricks eroded by centuries of wind. Broken statues stare with empty eyes. Once, kings of Babylon and Assyria ruled from here, commanding armies, building palaces, and carving laws into stone. Now, the Abbasid Caliphate rules from Baghdad, a city that shines like a star in the desert night. Scholars say it is the largest city in the world, its libraries filled with knowledge from every land. To Arslan, the thought is dizzying. That wisdom of Greece, India, China, and Persia all meet under one roof. When at last Arslan enters Baghdad, he is stunned. High walls encircle the city, perfectly round, their gates guarded by soldiers in polished mail. Inside, the streets are alive with noise and color. Markets overflow with goods, silk and spices, gems and books, perfumes and medicines. The air is thick with incense. Water sellers call out. Poets recite verses in shaded courtyards. The smell of grilled lamb drifts above the crowd. Baghdad is not only a market, but a heart of culture. In its great house of wisdom, scholars translate ancient texts. Astronomers chart the stars. Physicians study remedies. Here, knowledge itself is a trade good, exchanged as eagerly as silk. Arslan sells part of his remaining wares, a roll of fine silk, a pouch of saffron, and in return acquires silver coin and a small set of glass vessels made in local workshops. He knows these will fetch value further west. The Tigris and Euphrates are lifelines. Wide and strong, They feed canals that bring water to fields. Boats drift on their surfaces, carrying grain, dates, and clay jars of oil. Arslan sits by the river one evening, watching the sun sink behind palm groves. He marvels at how water binds life together. Without rivers, there is desert. With rivers, there is abundance. Fishermen cast nets, their calls echoing. Children splash on the banks. The river is both work and play, both danger and gift. Floods can sweep away homes, yet without them, fields would wither. But Mesopotamia is not without peril. Wars and rebellions erupt often. Armies march across the plains. Roads are patrolled by soldiers demanding tolls. Caravans risk being seized for supplies. One evening, as Arslan's caravan camps near the Euphrates, riders appear. They are soldiers of a local governor, demanding grain and coin in the name of the caliph. Arslan cannot refuse. He parts with silver, watching his purse grow lighter. Such losses sting, but refusal would mean ruin. Disease, too, lingers in crowded cities. Stagnant water breeds fevers. Plague rumors spread like smoke. Arslan remembers his weakness in Bukhara and moves carefully, avoiding unclean wells, boiling water when possible. In Baghdad's caravanserai, Arslan meets a monk from Byzantium, robed in black, carrying manuscripts bound in leather. They share bread and tea, speaking slowly through gestures and the help of a translator. The monk speaks of Constantinople, of its golden domes, its markets, its walls that no army can breach. Another night, he meets Arab scholars who speak of medicine, of stars, of philosophy. They describe how Greek texts are translated into Arabic, preserved and studied. Their words fill Arslan with awe. He realizes the Silk Road is not only for silk, nor spices, nor gems. It is for the movement of thought itself. Travel westward, the caravan follows the river valleys. Villages cluster along canals. Farmers drive donkeys laden with dates and melons. Markets buzz with voices. At night, the sky is vast and filled with stars. Arslan lies awake, listening to the frogs in the marshes and the whisper of reeds. The road is hard, but moments like these bring peace. Weeks pass. The lush valleys begin to fade. The rivers narrow. The air grows hotter, drier. Ahead lies Syria, and beyond it, Constantinople. Arslan feels both weariness and determination. His journey has already spanned thousands of miles, yet the final stretches remain. He has faced deserts, mountains, cities, and soldiers. Each step forward is a victory, each mile a story. One evening, as he watches the last light glimmer on the Tigris, he whispers a quiet prayer of gratitude. The rivers have carried him this far. Now, he must face the desert once again. Chapter 7. The Syrian Desert and Caravan Dangers, leaving Mesopotamia behind. With the Tigris and Euphrates fading behind, the land grows harsher once more. Villages scatter, rivers vanish, and the horizon stretches into shimmering emptiness. Arslan's caravan enters the Syrian desert, a sea of stone, sand, and silence. The air grows heavy with heat by day, while the nights fall cold and sharp. Every step of the camels kicks up dust. The men wrap their faces in cloth to keep the grit from their lungs. The Silk Road has no mercy here. The desert offers nothing freely. What the caravan carries is all that sustains it. Water is life. Each skin is guarded carefully, every drop measured. At dawn, they march. By midday, they rest in what little shade they can find, often behind the bodies of their own camels. At dusk, they walk again, guided by the stars. The desert is treacherous. Travelers whisper of entire caravans lost, swallowed by shifting dunes. Mirages shimmer on the horizon, promising water that is never there. Arslan relies on guides, Bedouins who know the desert's hidden paths. They move with calm confidence, reading the wind, the tracks, the sky itself. To them, the desert is not empty. It is a map, etched with signs invisible to strangers. But not all dangers are natural. The Syrian desert is stalked by bandits, swift riders who strike at dusk, seizing goods and leaving corpses in the sand. One evening, as the caravan sets camp near a rocky outcrop, shadows appear on the ridge. A dozen riders, their horses lean but fast. The guards tighten their grip on spears. Arslan feels his heart race. The Bedouin guide steps forward, raising his hand. Words are exchanged, sharp and quick. A pouch of silver changes hands. The riders vanish into the dusk. It is tribute or survival. The caravan breathes again. Day after day, the desert tests them. Lips crack, throats burn. Camels groan under their loads. Some stumble and do not rise again. Their burdens must be shifted to others, the carcasses left to scavengers. Arslan feels the weight of every mile. His feet blister, his eyes sting from the glare. Yet he presses on. To falter is to perish. At night, the desert sky opens. Stars blaze like cold fire. The Milky Way stretches across the heavens. Under its light, the caravan moves in silence, each man lost in his own thoughts. Arslan thinks of his home in Xi'an, of his children's laughter, of the promise of Constantinople. These thoughts keep his steps steady. After days of hardship, an oasis appears. Palm trees rise, green against the endless brown. Water glistens in a pool, clear and cool. The caravan erupts in relief. Animals rush forward. Men fall to their knees, splashing their faces, drinking deeply. The oasis is life itself, a miracle in the desert. Around it, Bedouin families live in tents of goat hair. They welcome the travelers, offering dates, milk, and shade. In return, Arslan gives cloth and spices. At night, under the palms, music rises. Bedouin flutes and drums echo in the warm air. For the first time in weeks, laughter returns to the caravan. The Syrian desert is also a land of faith. Pilgrims cross its sands, bound for holy cities. Some walk barefoot, chanting prayers with each step. Others ride donkeys, clutching small bundles, their eyes fixed on the horizon. Arslan speaks with one such pilgrim, a man from Damascus. The pilgrim speaks of Jerusalem, city of prophets, where the stones themselves hold memory. His words are filled with devotion, steady as the desert wind. Arslan listens with respect. Though their gods differ, he feels kinship. On the road, all travelers are brothers, bound by hardship and hope. At last, after weeks of trial, the caravan sees the edge of the desert. Hills rise, dotted with olive groves. Villages cluster once more. Streams trickle through valleys. The air feels softer, the land gentler. The worst is behind them. Ahead lies the final stretch, the lands of Byzantium and Constantinople itself. Arslan breathes deeply, feeling the dust of the desert lift from his soul. He has crossed mountains, deserts, and rivers. He has faced hunger, fear, and greed. And still he endures. One night, as the caravan rests on the borderlands, Arslan gazes westward. He imagines the golden domes of the city, the markets overflowing, the final reward for his long journey. Tomorrow, he will walk the last miles. The road has tested him, but it has not broken him. Chapter 8. Constantinople, the city at the edge of worlds. First sight of the city. After months of travel, deserts crossed, mountains scaled, rivers forded, the caravan finally nears the Bosporus. Ahead lies a city unlike any other, Constantinople, queen of cities, the bridge between east and west. From a distance, Arslan sees its walls rising high and proud, stretching mile after mile. Beyond them, golden domes gleam in the sunlight, and tall spires pierce the sky. Ships crowd the harbour, their sails like wings spread across the sea. For a moment, his breath catches. All the hardship, all the hunger, all the fear of bandits and storms, it has led to this. To reach the city, they pass villages and fields filled with vines and olives. Farmers watch as the caravan rolls past, whispering of the wealth it carries. At last, they stand before the Theodosian walls. 3 layers of stone and towers guard the heart of Byzantium. Soldiers patrol the battlements, their armor glinting. For centuries, no enemy has breached these defenses. Arslan presents his papers, his goods recorded by officials. Taxes are paid, seals stamped, and at last the gates creak open. The caravan enters the city. Inside, the senses are overwhelmed. Constantinople thrums with life. Narrow streets twist between tall houses of stone and timber. Merchants cry out in Greek, Latin, Arabic, and tongues Arslan does not know. Markets overflow. Spices from India, silks from China, furs from the Rus, wine from Greece, glass from Venice. The smell of roasted meat mingles with incense from churches and smoke from workshops. For Arslan, it feels as though the entire world has gathered here, each stall a fragment of a distant land. Drawn by wonder, Arslan visits Hagia Sophia, the great church of Byzantium. Its dome soars above him, vast and golden, seeming to float upon beams of light. Mosaics glitter, depicting saints and emperors. Candles burn in endless rows. The sound of chanting fills the air, deep and resonant, echoing from marble walls. Arslan stands silent, humbled. Though his faith differs, he feels awe. This place, like the Silk Road itself, holds the weight of centuries. In the Grand Bazaar, Arslan opens his bundles. Rolls of silk unfurl, shimmering in the light. Buyers press close, nobles seeking fine robes, merchants eager to trade, envoys gathering gifts for distant courts. Negotiations are fierce. Coins clink, voices rise, agreements are struck. Piece by piece, Arslan sells the goods he has carried across half the world. In return, he receives Byzantine gold coins, solid, gleaming, trusted from Baghdad to Rome. He also acquires treasures of his own, a small icon painted on wood, a dagger with a jeweled hilt, jars of honey and wine. At night, Arslan walks along the harbor. The sea laps gently against the docks. Lanterns sway on ships from every land, Venetian galleys, Arab dhows, Rus longships. He hears sailors laughing, traders haggling, priests singing. He thinks of the journey behind him, the dust of the Taklamakan, the snow of the Pamirs, the bustle of Samarkand, the silence of the Syrian desert. Each hardship has brought him here, to this shining city. For the first time, he allows himself to rest without fear of the road ahead. Weeks pass. Arslan concludes his business. His purse is heavy, his caravan lighter. Soon, he will begin the return journey east, though he knows it will never be the same. For the Silk Road is not a single road, nor a single journey. It is a living thread, binding nations and people. Every merchant who walks it adds his own story to its fabric. As Arslan gazes at the skyline of Constantinople, golden in the dawn, he whispers a quiet prayer. He has reached the edge of the world and survived. The journey is complete. From the gates of Xi'an to the walls of Constantinople, we have walked beside Arslan, a single merchant among thousands who carried the lifeblood of trade across continents. His path has taken us over deserts, through mountains, across rivers, and into cities that shine like jewels along the Silk Road. Now, as the lamps of Constantinople flicker in the evening breeze, let us pause and reflect. The Silk Road was never a single road. It was a web of paths, branching and twisting like veins across the body of the world. Each caravan traced a thread, weaving a tapestry of exchange. Spices, silk, gems, and gold moved along it, but so too did stories, faiths, and ideas. The road was a river of humanity, flowing in every direction. Through Arslan's eyes we have glimpsed the harshness of that world. The blistering sands of the Taklamakan, where water was life and silence stretched endless. The snow of the Pamir mountains, where air grew thin and danger lurked in every pass. The fertile plains of Mesopotamia, where rivers gave life but wars threatened it. The Syrian desert, where each mile demanded courage. And finally, the city at the world's edge, Constantinople, where east and west met under golden domes. Yet, woven through hardship, there was beauty. The scent of bread baking in a caravanserai, the laughter of children playing by a riverbank, the quiet music of Bedouin flutes beneath the stars. These moments remind us that history is not only the tale of empires and kings, but of ordinary lives, of resilience, of the small joys that carry people forward. As you listen now, drifting towards sleep, think of the Silk Road as more than geography. Think of it as a dream of connection. A promise that no matter how vast the world may seem, paths exist to bring us together. The road never truly ended. Even today, its spirit lingers in the cities and landscapes we have passed through in imagination. And in your own life, every step, every meeting, every exchange of words is part of that same human journey. So let the story soften now. Let the voices of markets and caravans fade into silence. Imagine the stars over the desert, steady and eternal, guiding travelers home. Imagine the sound of water flowing in Mesopotamian canals, soothing the earth. Imagine the golden domes of Constantinople, glowing in the first light of dawn. And as these images settle in your mind, allow your breath to slow. Feel the weight of the day lift, as though you too have laid down a heavy pack at the end of a long road. You have traveled far in imagination. You have crossed mountains and rivers. You have endured heat and cold. And now, like Arslan, you deserve rest. Close your eyes. Let the world of history drift into dream. The Silk Road will wait, timeless and unbroken, for when you choose to walk it again. Good night, traveler. May your sleep be deep, your dreams gentle, and your own journey as steady as the stars.